is to attack a problem that, simply put, is advocacy for life. You want to know what carbon control is about? It's life itself. Uncontrolled production of carbon contributes to health issues, starvation, weather problems, food production, and because of abusive carbon production in fragile and poor countries, it probably has a lot to do with the wars that are going on right now, and the violence that all of a sudden crops up all over the world. I think that advocating good breeding and the fundamentals of life is good. What you've done on the state level, what you've done on the national level is unbelievable. Now, since this is a fundraiser, now we'll get to the point of what I'm doing here. Since this is a fundraiser, I need to say two things. If you donate more than $100 because of a kind offer of William where is it? There he is. William McNamara, that's right. So that's what it says right here. William McNamara. You may choose one of the two pictures if you give over $100. Just let us know. Secondly, I gently and urgently ask you to be generous in your continuing support of CCL. And if you have not, I ask that you urgently begin thinking about it. And if you don't continue support, or you're not going to increase your support, or you're not going to be a supporter, we're not going to share our clean air with you.
Thank you, class. All right. Right now, I'd like to introduce two very special guests who traveled a great distance to be here tonight and visit Fayetteville, come out in support of the Citizens Climate Lobby. And I would like to recognize Miss Fannie Fields from Marble, Arkansas. And Miss Rita Spencer from Gould, Arkansas. Ms. Spencer attended the CCL conference last year in Washington, D.C., and her and Fannie are both going this year. So thank you so much for making that trip. We appreciate you, and we love you very, very much. Finally, before we have another musical interlude, I want to make an important announcement. We have a $3,500 challenge grant from two anonymous donors. $3,500. So we need people to dig deep, and so we can match that $3,500 and get it. We're going to talk a little more later in the program about how this money is going to be used, but it's going to be used to help folks get to Washington, D.C. and lobby our congressional delegation. Don't you think they're going to be blown away when they see the folks that we're going to show you going up there? You are. Okay, now it's my pleasure to introduce Gladys Tiffany, Director of the Omni Center for Peace, Justice, and Ecology. Yay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, friends. There's... So my job this evening is to tell you a little bit about Omni Center. And I hope that some of you know about us. We've been around in Fayetteville for about 15 years now. Yeah. And we have been working endlessly to make a space for progressive thinking and action in Northwest Arkansas. And we feel like this is a very important part of how we go about moving from the culture of war that we now live in toward the culture of peace that we all want to see happen. And a really important part of the culture of peace is you have to have an earth that is healthy and thriving in order for the people to be able to survive well. So the environmental part of what we do has, from the very beginning, been a real key part of what Omni does. And so now, as Citizens Climate Lobby has really given us an avenue to open up a lot of opportunity to reach out and do something that is very pragmatic, very well thought through, has excellent chances of both bringing about the kind of change in emissions that we need to see to happen in order to lower the problems of climate change. But it also has this political reality that the opportunity to reach out across the polarization aisle that has happened in our country, but especially in Washington, really has. They have worked so hard to figure out how to go about talking to conservative legislators, conservative state legislators, people on the street who really do not want the world to be in the kind of turmoil that we are seeing right now. And the Citizens Climate Lobby is really creating a wonderful space to do that. So we are so pleased that we get to be, Omni Center gets to be a group that supports this kind of excellent work. And we're also really glad to have an opportunity to offer the people of Fayetteville a chance to do this very same thing. And so, as you're thinking about how you want to share your resources, remember that there are people working in ways that actually do make a difference. And Citizens Climate Lobby is one of those groups that just has a wonderful feel and a wonderful work. So please give these folks as much support as you can because they deserve it. And Omni Center people, please give those Citizens Climate Lobby folks another round of applause. I'm sorry, I forgot a really important thing. The next thing that's going to happen tonight is that we have an incredible pair of people who have been part of Omni for a really long time and have some incredible gifts. So Jeff and Leslie Olsner Jeff has written a song that is so perfect for tonight. So they're ready to sing for us right now. Yay!
Hi. How many remember Bob Dylan's song, The Times They Are Changing? Well, I was thinking about the title and suddenly it came to me, well, the climate isn't changing. I wanted to write a song that repurposed Bobby's song. Of course, this song is about the problem. The next song we do a little later on in the evening is going to be about solution, which is why we're all here. And so when we get to this part, I'm going to ask you to sing along. Oh, the climate is changing. Okay, you might have some fajita in your mouth and some beer, but give it a try. Oh, the climate is changing. Come gather round people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept that that song If your world to you is worth saving, Caesar up at me, rise in no time to postpone, for the climate is a I'm writers and critics who prophesize with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, chance won't come again, though those close-minded business as usual men deny all the science explaining all the ways we pollute and defile our den, for the climate is a-changing. Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. The temperature's soaring, no time left to stall, for this earth will be altered beyond all recall. If your house is divided by raging, winds will shatter its windows and a redless wall, for the climate is a-changing. Come mothers and fathers throughout the land, think of your children, oh please understand, for your sons and your daughters' sake, make this demand. We must act in the time that's remaining. However we can, we must go lend a hand, for the climate is a-changing. The line it is drawn, the die it is cast, for all the slow-growing danger approaches us fast, and predictable weather's a thing of the past. The environment is fast rearranging. We must cut CO2 to reverse that forecast, for the climate is a-changing. For the climate is a-changing.
A few months ago, a few of us from Omni were standing on a very cold and rainy Joyce Avenue sidewalk, protesting, asking for attention to the Paris Peace Talks, asking for support of the Paris Peace Talks, and we found ourselves with many, many people from the Marshallese community, and we started connecting. We met this young man, Chris Balos, who has become a member of our community and has opened up the world of the Marshallese community to us. It is an incredible privilege to get to know these people, and I'm introducing Chris Balos now to talk to you about his work.
How we doing?
Great.
I hope the apple is sticking because I've been told I'm a boring speaker, so. No, but I've joined the CCL membership because the work they've been doing, I believe, is very beneficial to Arkansas and I believe the United States. So that's one of the reasons why I stuck around with CCL, and I'm very grateful to be a part of them. Also, I'm very grateful for Omni and Gladys for bringing me along. I've joined the fight against climate change because it's a personal fight for me. Living here in the States and seeing all my families and friends suffering the effects of rising sea level is heartbreaking. And I don't really see the leadership that's supposed to attack that issue within my community. So I've taken upon myself to gather all my friends and my families to really lead this fight for my people. So, I'm very grateful for everybody coming out, and if you can, please donate, because I'll be going to the DC and hopefully trying to ring some ears. So. I know I believe I got a minute, but because right now, that's about it right now, and with the help of, I also wanted to say, with the help of Citizen Climate Lobby and Omni Center, me and a few friends of mine were able to start our own youth organization. We're trying to raise awareness within my community and help the Marshallese youth keep that sense of identity within ourselves. So even if we do lose our honors, at least we still have the culture.
That's right.
Once again, thank you. And I hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, Chris. We're very, very fortunate for our community and for the state to have such an articulate spokesman to call for climate action as Chris Barrows. Chris, thank you, and thank you for reaching out to the Marshall community. Next, I'd like to introduce Camara Seals. She is Policy Director for the Arkansas Public Policy Panel. Camara is working closely with us to engage in policy and dividend at the state level, and it's a real honor and privilege to welcome Camara to Fayetteville.
Good evening. Like you said, my name is Camara Seals, and I'm with the Arkansas Public Policy Panel. I've been on staff with the panel for about 7 months now, and I love it. I love the work that the panel does. I love the work that CFC is engaged in, and I love the work that CCL is doing. And I'm so privileged to have this opportunity to work, to learn about climate change and the environment. And it's amazing work. Give yourselves a round of applause for the work you do. And I have learned that it's not easy work. And there are a lot of challenges. And so we definitely want to be a part of the solution. And I salute Robert and the CCL for the work that you're doing, encourage you to continue. And this is a fundraiser. So I want to reiterate, and I have given, I wrote a check tonight, so I'm a proud donor now of CCL. So I want to encourage all of those of you, like Flash said, who haven't given to give. And if you've given, increase your giving. So anyway, I'm sure everybody knows about Citizens First Congress, and kind of my role with Citizens First Congress is I'm a lobby for them and policy director for the panel, and we work through four caucus areas, and environment obviously is one of those areas. The other areas are education, environment, education, economic justice and development, and then election reform / civil rights. And so we are a member organization. CFC is a member organization. So if you have a member group that would like to be a part of the work that we do in giving voice to where there's no voice and fighting for those issues and trying to move policy forward that's going to benefit Arkansans, let us know. At this time, I want everybody that's here with the Arkansas Public Policy Panel to stand, wave your hand, because we've got about 5 or 6 staff here and board members. So the panel and the CFC is in the house. And congratulations on your work. Thank you.
as I said earlier, we really couldn't do this without the panel. And it's a testament to how important they do think our work is that number of people came up from Little Rock and around the state to support us. So we're very, very fortunate to have them. Let's give them another hand. Finally, I would like to take a moment to recognize someone who is extraordinarily special, someone that I have had the honor to work with for the last 10 years. I've worked with her the last 6 years on the Arkansas Public Policy Panel Fundraising Committee, Beth Arda. Beth is retiring this year, and it's going to leave a huge hole in the panel. She has been a tremendous help in organizing this event and last year's event, and we appreciate Beth so much. Now,
Take another bite, Beth.
okay, now it's my pleasure. Yes. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the Citizens Climate Lobby Leadership Team, two of our co-chairs. But first, did you see the slide? Read it. Just the headline.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Governor Hutchinson announces the creation of the carbon bank. Fee and dividends a reality. Well, it's not as bizarre as it may seem because of the great team and political will that we're starting to create in Arkansas and at the federal level. Carbon fee and dividend really could become a policy, state and locally. So it's my pleasure to introduce Chris McNamara and Patrick Kinnaman, two of our co-chairs, who are going to talk briefly about the CCL, the results of the Remy report that you funded last year, and the importance of the upcoming Citizens Climate Lobby Convention in D.C. Let's give them a huge hand.
Thanks everyone. A little bit. All right, again, thank you very much. I'm not sure exactly how familiar all of you are with CCL and the work that we're doing, but I guess it would be good to give a little bit of background since we're asking for funding. So, just a brief intro to CCL and what we're doing here. So you know, Citizens Climate Lobby is, we live by the mantra of the political will for a livable world. We really believe in providing a better world for future generations, both environmentally but also economically. We really truly believe that although the mindset seems to be out there that you can have one improve, it's going to be at the detriment of the other, we truly believe, and we have the evidence to support, that we can benefit both simultaneously. And that's really what we're all about. And we do that through a razor-sharp focus on what we call carbon fee and dividend. Some of you may know it as a form of what's called the carbon tax, but it's very unique. So what a carbon fee and dividend is essentially a fee is placed on carbon, on carbon as an energy source, and that fee is then, it sort of creates an incentive on the general market to move towards cleaner alternative energies. Simultaneously, that fee is then returned to the general public as a dividend, so it goes out to households, so that impact, that economic impact, isn't felt by the general public, right? So we create an incentive, but simultaneously help improve the economy. What Chris will show you here in a minute is that it actually does net benefit the economy at the end of the day. So we can't just say that and say we want to make it happen. We have to go out and take action on it. So that's what we do. So the first thing we do is we hold regular meetings. We also give presentations like this one right here, but all over Arkansas as well as nationally. We write letters and op-eds, and most importantly, we lobby Congress. So that's what we're here for today. That is the whole purpose of this fiesta right now, is because we need to get back out there and we need to lobby members of Congress so that we can take that legislative action, take those necessary steps
so that carbon fee and dividend can become the reality to solve the climate crisis that we're in right now. What we're looking to do, we've had in the previous years a handful of members from Arkansas go. Right now we're looking at the neighborhood of 12 members from all across Arkansas actually going and lobbying directly with Congress in Washington. It's a pretty big deal. It's pretty fantastic. When we go to, we don't just shoot from the hip, all right? So that's one thing that's really important to CCL is that we train our members to get out there. We train them in high-level relationship building to help bridge that sort of unnecessary political divide that exists around the issue of climate. Because we know that if you go out there and you start yelling at somebody about climate, they're going to shut down put up their walls, they're going to shut down, they're not going to listen to us. What we found, this is going to be my third conference, what we found is that this actually works. When we first started doing this with our Arkansas members of Congress, it was complete denial on the issue of climate in general, let alone taking action on it, right? What we see now is that nobody, quote, denies the science. They all understand that the reality is there, and the response at this point from our members is we need a solution that's not going to hurt the economy here at home. And so that's what we have to convince them now, is that now that they understand the reality, this is the solution. So with your help, we can send more Arkansans than ever. An incredibly diverse crowd from the Marshall East and Southern Arkansas, representing the entire state. When the Citizens Climate Lobby first got started as sort of a national organization, we had a handful of individuals going. But this has grown from just a few thousand members over the past few years to nearly 20,000 members nationwide. And this is what it looked like last year. We met with every single office of every member of Congress last year. And we're going to do it again this year. All right? When we say the political will for a livable world, we really mean it. This is, and in Arkansas, we've got support on the coast. There are members of Congress who totally understand where we're coming from. They believe in what we're saying. They understand the science. They understand the economic benefit of what we're proposing. It's states like Arkansas. This is ground zero, and this is the only chapter in Arkansas right now. This is where the action is happening. This is where we need to make our mark, is right here. So with your help, hopefully we can do that again this year, and we can have a bigger impression than we've had any year past. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Chris. He's going to give you a little bit of info on the economics behind this and what we've managed to do with the funding that came from the fiesta last year. So please give it up for Chris McNamara.